Are robots taking over Magic the Gathering? All right, welcome back, vintage gamers. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. This is the 26th off stream recording here. Just a lot of things going on during the holidays, so I haven't been able to get a stream on, but that's okay. You're probably watching this Friday, the 27th. I want to let you know that the 28th, I will be streaming the Vintage Super Qualifier on MTGO. Couple hundred players playing Vintage for regional championship qualifications. Big, fun, competitive event. Hope to see you there. For now, I'm going to play something fun, something exciting, something we haven't played with, which is Curie, Emergent Intelligence. This is a Fallout legendary artifact robot that has an Ophidian effect, so dealing combat damage to a player, draws cards equal to the base power. And then has a special thing here. 1 in a blue, exile another non-token artifact creature you control, and Curie becomes a copy of the exiled creature, except it has the same ability as before. So, very fun combination gaming here, where you have a Curie in play, you have 1 in a blue, you play your Phyrexian Dreadnought, the trigger goes on the stack, and you exile your Phyrexian Dreadnought to make your Curie a 12/12 draw 12 when it hits. Very, very fun, exciting combination, and this is a really nice shell. The last time we tested this shell, we were really impressed. Lurrus makes this quite redundant. Doorkeeper Thrall has lots of applicability across the format, especially against things like Coveted Jewel. And then being a Swords to Plowshares, Lurrus, blue powered deck gives you a lot of really strong starts and really good versatility. I really like 4 Swords to Plowshares against the current format. There's a lot of mono white initiative running around right now. This deck, Doorkeeper Throw should be quite good against mono white initiative as well, as is a bunch of removal spells. So I believe I took a CRK list that 5-0'd at some point, and I just made a couple changes to just some cards that I liked. I think having the Singleton Dress Down is one of the best combinations with Phyrexian Dreadnought, and then it loops with Lurrus really well. Wanted to make sure I had Null Rods in there, even though I probably already have a good Jewel matchup. I just hate Jewel, so I want to make sure I always win against it. And then I wanted to make sure I had a meticulous archive in our fetchable mana sources. I find that these Surveil lands are quite strong, especially in this more grindy, blue-oriented deck. To make that a little bit stronger and not dilute the mana base too much, I have opted to put some Lorien Revealeds in the deck so I can have searching capabilities for the other lands. Let's see. Yeah, so it's kind of important when you make these like Lurrus decks to make sure you have enough things that are coming back with Lurrus to make your Lurrus super valuable. Obviously, your creature pieces here are good, but a lot of creature pieces get removed by Swords to Plowshares, so you want to have, the 1 bauble, especially you can get that off of your Saga, the Dress Down that's looping, and then of course, Consign to Memory is a really strong vintage card and quite good with Phyrexian Dreadnought. So should be fun. Should be a nice little league here off stream. I will see you in round 1. Okay, round 1. I have a cat. I have a Curie. I have a Dreadnought. I have Moxen. I don't have a Force. That's the one thing this hand's really missing, but everything else is in there. One thing I'm curious about this list is I'm not sure I like the idea of no off-color Moxen. This feels like a list that would use off-color Moxen quite well. But I decided to take a known quantity to start. I would always be trying to, especially when I'm playing these creatures that are 1 in an X, 1 in an X, colorless, trying to maximize my power in Vintage. So I would like to see off-color Moxen, but I can see the reasoning, Lavinia and just consistency issues. So it's always a balance between being the most powerful deck you can be and making sure your deck does the thing. I don't think this hand. Another thing this hand lacks is something like a Wasteland, in case my opponent was on Bazaar. But it looks like they have a 7-card Mana Crypt Keep, which is extremely scary. Extremely scary. But I mean, you can't mulligan to Force of Will every hand in Vintage. You have to accept that some hands are not going to have Force of Will, and this hand is as good as they come, really, without Force of Will. Oh, are we dead? I haven't seen an oops all spells in quite a long time here. Sure. Yeah. I mean, we'll see how redundant they built their oops all spells combo. If they have to pass the turn, maybe we can spike a counter spell or something. Or maybe we can just draw swords to plowshares right now. That would be pretty good. We drew another Phyrexian Dreadnought. All right, well, I'm going to see what they do, and I want to see their whole deck anyways, so I'm going to play out a Sapphire and a Plains and pass the turn. Don't want to show them this stuff. It's not going to win me the game, and quite skeptical. But the fact that my opponent went City, Undercity Forward Pass, if I had drawn Swords to Plowshares there, I would have been able to Swords with Spell Pierce backup. Would have been quite good. That being said, Spell Pierce is not going to interact with this if they just crack it right away. And also, even if they usually have things like Cabal Therapies inside of their pile. I have not seen an Oops All Spells in a while. Oops All Spells is a historically poor vintage deck. It is typically one of the lowest win rate things reported. This is only 2 Narcomoebas. Did they accidentally draw too many Narcomoebas? So there's the Cabal Therapy here. Or do they have, oh, they have Poxwalkers. Wait. Okay, so they probably have Cabal Therapy, bring back some Poxwalkers, then Dread Return the Thought. Cool. Yeah, so we're just dead. I was wondering why there were so few, if they pay for this, then I will just concede. They do have a second Cabal Therapy as well. So yeah, they're super redundant. They do have a Shieldred in the main, which I think is quite interesting. Definitely why you want to play this kind of thing out. They have no forces. They are only Pact of Negation Shieldred. All right. The best kind of card against this deck is typically going to be Leyline of the Void, which we don't have. I guess a Containment Priest does still work. So we'll bring in some Containment Priests here. We'll bring in Tormod's Crypt and Soul Guide Lantern, which are quite good. Consign the Memory actually should be pretty good as well. They'll have to make sure they hit that on their therapies. They might. That should be Negation. So I guess we have a bunch of things coming in here. I don't exactly know what their pivot plan is. A lot of times these Oops All Spells decks are so vulnerable that they will swap into something else post-board. Maybe a good enough reason to keep a Swords to Plowshares in the deck. We'll have to see. That being said, Doorkeeper Thrall is quite good against Oracle. Basically, all of our cards are just really good against their entire deck as long as we don't immediately die on turn 1. So, how are we going to reconcile that with our sideboarding plan here when every card is good? I think you just don't need these Dreadnoughts because my opponent would just not be able to win the game. So we probably just keep the Dreadnoughts out and then just... I am going to keep... I'm not going to keep enough Swords. I don't think that's worth it. So one more magic card here. I don't feel like I need Curry either. I feel like I just need to play control. Like, look how many cards I have that interact with their game plan. So I'm just going to play Super Control. This is kind of the reason why Oops All Spells is not a very successful vintage deck. There are 2 big reasons why Oops All Spells are not a vintage... I guess there are 3 big reasons that Oops All Spells is not a very successful vintage deck. One, it is a graveyard-based combo, so people are overboarding for the graveyard because Dredge is so broken. It's very normal in vintage to have 6 or 7 pieces of Dredge card hate in your yard, your sideboard. So it gets splash damaged by that. It is an all-in combo deck with not a lot of redundancy, so it gets a lot of hate from just the fact that there's so many forces in the format. Force of Will, the most played card in the format. So it's not very, you can't feast on no force decks like you could maybe in Legacy against these, Mavericks and whatever. Then there was a third reason, and now I just actually completely lost my train of thought. But basically everything is bad except for the fact that you get the best fast mana in all of Magic. So that does give you a very consistent turn 1 win attempt. The problem is, I mean, you can see the problem right here. That being said, by being able to consistently put up turn 1 kills, you do sometimes win, like last round, where my opponent put up a turn 1.5, I guess, turn 2 kill, and I did not have a Force of Will in my hand and just instantly lost. That being said, we should be pretty favored going into games 2 and 3. Let's see what my opponent has. We have to still be very diligent with our choices of counter magic. Really, usually letting people play their Moxins out because Moxins, well, that's not a real word. Moxin out because you want to just be able to counter the threats. They're gonna have much more mana than they're gonna have threats. And even if like these spell piercers don't counter the Undercity Informer, they still counter a counter spell or something. Here, I'm pretty sure my opponent is not going to be able to win through a Lavinia, so I'm mostly interested. Oh, I could have taken out a Plains, actually, is something I should have done. I didn't consider, I mean, I should usually consider that, because my opponent's not attacking my mana. One thing to note, I guess, is that this is a 3/2, but I have Lurrus, so I feel like I shouldn't ever lose to, like, creatures attacking me. But I guess that could theoretically happen. My opponent is going to have a lot of trouble casting anything through Lavinia besides creatures. See, that Plains I don't feel like I necessarily needed. Definitely not in the interests to... What is this? Green, black. Is it Dismember? They can't cast Dismember because you need 3 lands. I don't think it's in our best interest to buy Lurrus just because I want to be able to hold all this stuff up. And once we get like 1 more mana, then I'll probably buy a Lurrus. Lurrus also not returning anything, so yeah, this card is extremely good against this kind of all-in strategy here. But if they play a 2/3, oh, a 3/1 Death Touch. I guess that is pretty good against my Lavinia. All right, and a second land. So definitely regretting no Lurrus yet. Containment Priest. But we're still winning this race, so we can just wait on our flash spells. Something I have to consider is I have to figure out what I'm playing tomorrow in this super qualifier event. I don't know. I haven't been super into Vintage recently. I've been, you know, taking my holidays after my 3 weeks in a row of Vintage and Legacy. Playing a lot of TFT, trying to climb up there. Probably gonna play a TFT tournament next weekend after the Vintage tournament. I don't really enjoy a lot of the Vintage decks that are popular right now. And then I'm very skeptical of the Unlucky Monkey Lurrus PO deck. I don't know how to make that more my speed, but it's a grief. It's a grief. I guess I am just going to counter the ability because I don't want to see the hand, so no reason to let them know what's in my hand. I do think that the Lurrus PO deck that's getting played right now is my style, but it is very, I don't know, eccentric, has an interesting mana base. It's doing a lot of things. All right, with a Lavinia and a Containment Priest in play, I don't feel like I can die, so I'm going to buy this Lurrus and pass. At some point, I should be winning this creature battle here. But it's kind of nice that this deck has this Grief, this Poxwalkers. Like, if they play that Shielder that we saw in game 1, I guess we have a Karakas in our deck, but could lose like on the ground war after getting rid of all the Swords of Plowshare. It's definitely possible. I assume we're just both coming in. I think I'm still fine for now. But yeah, and then I'm not really sure. I actually kind of think that my Lurrus Voltki deck that I played to like a whatever 80%, they just have the Shieldred? All right, I guess I'm gonna lose. That's crazy. can't believe that. But sure looks like I'm going to lose this game. It's wild. They just have all creature spells and I die with no swords to plowshares in my deck. I mean, I do have Dress Down Lurrus loop, but it's not that good here. But their draw lined up really well against what I was trying to do here. This was something that we considered while sideboarding, that maybe we need to keep some amount of swords in, but theoretically, Lurrus plus creatures should be able to beat Poxwalkers and Griefs. It's just not exactly good against Shieldred. That being said, I do have Dress Down. I can return these creatures and things, so. What is the best set of blocks here? I think it's simply take 3. Gain 3 back from Lurrus. This does technically let them go for a combo kill here, but they're just wild. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to lose to only creatures. That's crazy, but it's definitely something that can happen. Certainly within my radar. I'm not going to lose here. I'm just going to consign this, but I'm not really beating a 2/3 flyer and a 4/5 turn off all my stuff, and it's quite bad for me. So I can return the Containment Priest and dress down the shield. I mean, I don't want to dress down the Shieldred trigger. I probably need to dress down in combat and do the blocking. Block. I'm at 3. Block, go to 2. I mean, it's still really bad for me. Yeah, I mean, we're going to lose this game for sure. I'm very surprised that we lost this game, and I don't think we can ever really lose this game if my opponent doesn't have exactly the one Shieldred, but they have what they have. So do I gain more life by attacking with Lurrus? Well, the thing is, I want to block this flyer, but I can't really do that. Yeah. So this at least lets me. Oh no, I still am gonna die. I guess I can end step a dress down. That doesn't help me though. None of this is helping me. Because if I dress down and do this and I still die. Yeah, I guess I'm going to die here. I guess the best thing now is so like I don't even have those Stiflenoughts to like get me out of it. You know, the dreadnoughts. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. I mean, the best way to win now is like my opponent goes for an all-in combo and I dress them down. Did I have that option before? No. Well, maybe I could have. Like if I had let them mill themselves, maybe they just wouldn't have milled themselves. I don't know. Looks really bad though. I could see worlds where I could have played this game more optimally. Doorkeeper Thrall. Yeah, I mean, this Shieldred is just too much. I guess I can still try to find that Caracas, so let's go looking for a Caracas here. If I find the Caracas, we might still be in the game. Black Lotus. That's not it. Containment Priest does not get there. All right. I've been vanquished by oops all spells, and what I can only assume is a 80-20 matchup. I mean, let me take a look at it. Like, I really don't want to keep in any sorts of plowshares if I can help it, right? Like, maybe I'm silly thinking that I'm winning without dreadnoughts, but I feel like it's totally fine. Like, you have Lurrus and you start like loop blocking on like the their 3/1s and stuff. Seems like pretty unlucky. And we do still have Caracas, but we don't like we have a tutor for our Caracas. Or maybe I'm overestimating the approach to the matchup. Something to think about. All right, let's see if I can redeem myself here. Pretty. Never mind. That is quite a few lands. Hey, it's the Caracas that I needed last game to beat the Shieldred. All right. Try again. All right, that's not bad. Not bad. Which card am I least happy about? Maybe just Time Walk is the worst. Not sure. Island. Emerald. Jewel. Oh, my hand's okay against Jewel. If I had a Mox, it'd be great against Jewel. Imagine flashing in a Doorkeeper Thrall against a Jewel. It doesn't trigger. Oh, hello. That is the Mox that doesn't cast the Lavinia, but... That being said, I guess I'm not that good against a ring. Just jam a Jewel, man. Just jam a Jewel, man. I have a ring. All right. Well, this doesn't come in tapped. It's just no triggers. I don't know why I thought it come in tapped. But yeah, you would stop the Jewel from triggering, and then you would attack and steal it. So, but yeah, they played this ring because it plays around Spell Pierce, which makes a lot of sense. Oh, they have a follow-up? Man, I swear to God, if I just randomly died of Volky, I'll be very sad, but... Alright, I'm gonna get the Doorkeeper Throw in, so that at least turns off the Jewel options here. Oh, would I rather have Force or Lavinia? Force is... I'm gonna keep Force up. Force is better if they have, like, PO... No, it's not better if they have PO. It's only better if they have exactly a key. Where Lavinia is better against everything else. Okay, I probably should have played Lavinia then. I do want to kind of... I don't know. I'd like to have Force and Lavinia. Though a lot of times when you play Lavinia, they just play a Metamorph and then your Force gets turned off anyways. All right. Now I have a Force and a Lavinia and a Doorkeeper Thrall and possibly a Lurrus Dressed on Loop in the future. Like, the worst thing that can happen is my opponent goes Metamorph on Lavinia and then plays a key. But if I get through this turn, I can start dress downing Metamorphs too, so... Though that turns off my other stuff for the turn, so there's there's a little bit of tension there. Could see that being like a bad sequence though. But yeah, we can't play POs and rings and jewels now, so... Yeah, I guess I would rather hold open, Thrall, dress down. Maybe not. Because, like, is dress downing a... I guess I can always dress down later, too. I'm not sure. The push and pull of, like, stop the Metamorph but turn off my hate pieces is quite interesting. I still think it's worth having the dress down in the deck. It's quite strong. Well, there's just definitely some tension there. Because they have so much mana. Like, if I Metamorph, kill a Metamorph, like, I could still follow up with something good. Increasing the clock. One more damage. All right, they're off it. Fair enough. I have some null rods here. I also have another negation, a sabotage, and consign to memory, and seal cleansing, which are all quite good. And then I'm taking some of these swords out, but I gotta leave some in. And then maybe it's like misstep, probe, planes. I guess like the Dreadnought plan is pretty silly against. Maybe it's still fine. I think it's like one Dreadnought and one Curie or something. You got to keep some swords in though, in case they go creature plan. They're probably supposed to go creature plan because you have so many hate pieces. Maybe I'm supposed to keep more swords than 2 in. Maybe like 3 swords is more effective. All right, I have some stiff tree ball. All right, well, no 3 balls happening here. Draw, Lotus, go. Kind of worried. A little low on stuff because we have this Dreadnought. It's kind of why I was like, well, maybe we don't. Like, I think Dreadnought. Not sure. Like these decks where we're like very clearly the control deck makes me want to not play the Dreadnought as much. But Tinka. No. But we can always end step dress down and play a Dreadnought if we want to. I guess that puts them pretty close to dead, actually. Maybe we should just do that then. Ooh, draw a blue card would be sick. Yeah. So now if they use this Ancient Tomb, they die to the Dreadnought. Pretty great. Yeah, okay, they're off it. Yeah, like, I know I said the Oops All Spells matchup is good, but this might be one of the best decks constructed ever made to beat Jewel. Like, you have main board counter target colorless spell. You have so much stuff. I added these null rods, and now I'm seeing the vision. Maybe you just simply don't need it because you have so much stuff as it is. Okay, all right. We're on the up and up. The recovery. Have a cat. Nice ancestral hand on the play. Sure. Not the best ancestral hand, to be fair, but beggars can't be choosers. So you take your ancestral hands when you're given them. It's always funny though, because like theoretically this hand's great, right? We have ancestral, we have Black Lotus, but if our opponent is, they're on a mulligan of 5 right now, they're just on dredge. Is this hand good? Maybe if the ancestral draws you a wasteland. But like there's lots of times where this ancestral draws you nothing, and you do nothing and you die, or they go for a combo kill and you have ancestral and you don't draw a force, you die. So ancestral, not the end all be all. However, when you have an ancestral hand, I like Flooded Strand, Lotus, upkeep, ancestral, play around negation, and let us keep this Lotus for something. I also like Tundra. If my opponent goes for a wasteland on Tundra after getting ancestral, they're gonna be super far behind, and then we have all these other good stuff. All right, so now we have a force, which is great against not Bizarre, and we have a Doorkeeper Thrall, which is great against not Bizarre. So we should be in a good spot. Okay, is it Jewel again? This hand's great against Jewel. I guess it's not that great against the One Ring. Classic the One Ring. All right, I will counter the One Ring. Should really pitch this Lorien revealed. This crew should come in play later here. Okay, I don't have a force backup for that. And then I'm definitely going to cash in on this Doorkeeper Thrall. It's going to turn off their Jewel things, and we're going to get a Dreadnought going. That being said, my opponent can, of course, metamorph this Dreadnought with the Doorkeeper Thrall. A second Delve spell is not exactly what I was looking to see when I discarded the Lorien revealed, but think I'd rather get this saga going. But there's definitely some upside here to like playing Meticulous Archive first. I'm like a little worried about, I don't know, say they play a ring this turn and blank me. Getting the saga going faster might be quite good. I got nothing left, so bobble away. They have their own saga. And that's it. Okay. I mean, they did mulligan a bunch. That is part of the Jewel plan. Though I have to say, if everyone's going to play Jewel, this is definitely a good deck to register against Jewel. Let's go with Surveil, Strip Mine. Sure. I'll keep a Strip Mine on top. I can get another Dreadnought with this Saga, and I have a Spell Pierce. Feels like a good spot to be in. And I have a Strip Mine for their Saga, so not even like a bunch of constructs are going to help here anyways against a 12-12 Trampler. It's going to be a Jewel. I almost don't want to show them that artifacts don't cause it. All right. Sorry, friend. I almost wanted to counter it so they don't know that Doorkeeper Throw stops Jewel. But nah, I guess that's one way to find out. All right, yeah, like I said, this matchup is incredible, and I probably made it overkill with the way I sideboarded here. That's my fault. That's just a consequence of not knowing exactly how it's going to play out, but something I could have maybe theorized. What was I boarding out here? It was like a Curie. I boarded out 2 more cards than this. How is that even possible? Oh, I boarded out some swords, but I'm kind of I'm conflicted on whether 2 swords is the right number. It's probably fine because we have Seal of Cleansing, which doubles as like Masticore or Wormcoil removal anyways. None of these things are going to be great at removing Kappa Cannoneer, which is the newest pivot plan from Jewel. All right, I have a cat. What do I have? Yep. Okay, I'm down. This deck, if there's ever like a time where Jewel is 20-something% of the metagame, come with this deck, and I can't imagine Jewel could ever win. I mean, they can win, obviously. This is Magic the Gathering, especially Jewel, very powerful on the play. Sometimes they have the turn 1 Jewel combo with Force Backup. 7-card hand from the opponent. We'll see if it happens this time. Soul Ring. 3 Ball. Monolith. The One Ring. Key. The One Ring. Not playing into Mindbreak Trap. All right. I like Lotus, hold everything up, Wasteland. Being able to flash in Doorkeeper Thrall is kind of just gross against the Coveted Jewel. It's really, really strong against Coveted Jewel. That being said, I don't really have great follow-ups plans here. Definitely not going to crack it for the Doorkeeper Thrall if I don't have to. It's not like I'm following this up with anything great. So this is an interesting spot. I think I do like the idea. It's not that good, though. If I could play two drops, then I think this Lorien Revealed makes more sense, but I think without being able to play two drops, cracking the Lotus there. I mean, I could like play Lavinia and get a land, or I could play Doorkeeper Troll with get a land. I could even like play Doorkeeper Troll, get a land, and then still hold up Consign. Just feel like I can wait for a land, right? Yeah, here we go. So again, Lavinia and Doorkeeper Thrall, or just wait. I mean, Lavinia is just so good though, right? They just won't be able to cast spells. Not creature spells, I should say. Like my opponent goes Metamorph here on Lavinia, right? I turns off my force, which is something. But I probably would have to counter a Metamorph on Lavinia just because I want to cast Cruise, but maybe I don't even need to. They did hit their first land there. Ooh, I hit a fetch land. So if I crack a fetch, I'm at 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, we'll just wait and we'll go for a Meticulous Archive here. I guess they could have Hull Breacher. That's fine. If they want to do that, I think I'm okay with that. I'd rather put a clock on than worry about something like a 2 of Hull Breacher flashing in. I hit another land drop. All right, so here's our Meticulous Archive time. What we got? Surveil a Dreadnought? No, probably want that one. That'll end the game in one swing. I can always counter their Metamorph. Oh, I guess Metamorph is not a colorless spell. It's kind of sick, actually. That doesn't really matter, though. Like a Dreadnought, if they play Dreadnought, they just trade. It's fine. All right, we have Lethal on the play. Did I take out Dreadnoughts? I took out one Dreadnought. Interesting. I don't know. I have to figure out the exact way you would want to board with this deck against Jewel, because you have lots of options. The fact that I can't actually counter a Metamorph is pretty funny, though. Classic. All right. I mean, so far, we have faced 3 very favorable matchups. So we'll see how it goes in the rest of this league. All right. It's a Christmas miracle. We got the Deck 84 across the table playing some Grixis Breach, almost assuredly. Yeah, let's do it. So that'll be a nice little change up here after 2 beatings against Jewel. That's a good start. Moxen top. Curie, not bad. Man, the hands where you don't have Moxen are just so different from the hands where you do have Moxen, which is why I really, really like having off-color Moxen in this kind of deck. Like, just being able to slam a Curie on turn 1 here would have been really nice. All right, I'm going to go get the Meticulous Archive and see what's underneath. Planes. I don't think we need planes. So, the question becomes, what are we the most scared of? I feel like we're the most scared of Hull Breacher Twister with Force backup. If that is the case, I think we would simply want to play Lavinia. I guess theoretically you could just hold up in Swords to Plowshares, but I don't feel like that is pushing us in a very proactive direction. Also, Lavinia is still quite good against my opponent's deck, so if this gets forced, probably just let it happen. Unfortunately, my opponent's deck does, sometimes play Pyroblasts, which are quite good against Lavinia. All right, they kept the card, they spun, and then they fetched in their main. And now they're going to play Lightning Bolt. Okay, sure. And also is good against Lavinia. Would have been pretty good against Curie as well, so. But now they didn't play a land drop, and we have a Wasteland target, so that makes me kind of happy. That being said, don't really have great protection for this little guy. Does it make sense to play it? This feels very greedy, and I could see this coming back and biting me, but my opponent missed a land drop. So a lot of their most powerful plays can't really happen here. And I would definitely like to propose a Dreadnought hit on the next turn. Though, that being said, if they do hold up in 3 mana, I can't really propose a Dreadnought hit unless I have Force backup, and even then, things get a little awkward. So, because of Hull Breacher, if that wasn't clear. But my opponent missed a land drop, so they're a little bit on the back foot. I'd like to start pressuring, and these Dreadnoughts don't do anything unless I get something in play to help them, which is like the big problem with playing Dreadnought in general. That being said, if I feel like it's too risky, I can simply attack with Curie and holding up swords. Oh, they found a land. See what they do. A blue card is ideal. An Urza Saga. Okay. I am going to play the Urza Saga to play around Spell Pierce and Flusterstorm. And I guess I can't really beat Flusterstorm, but not Flusterstorm. Spell Pierce. I guess I can't. I guess I would never Swords to Plowshares anyways. So if I, okay, we're just getting a hidden. I mean, this is still fine. Just drawing one card is totally fine. I was talking about like different ways you would have Swords of Plowshares against Hull Breacher, and then playing around Flusterstorm and that kind of stuff doesn't do anything. So I have still not drawn a blue card for Force, which is not great. Why this Lurrus and hold up swords? So I could have possibly gone for the Dreadnought thing here. All right, so crack. We didn't like our 3 cards, so we crack spin again. I could have gone in, but it just feels like if I go in, right, using all my mana, and my opponent plays a Hull Breacher, is that, I guess maybe that's not even that bad for me. Like, getting 12 treasures might be pretty bad for me. It kind of depends, though. Now I have all the kinds of mana, so now I'm definitely going to go for it. I also have this Caracas, which is pretty sweet. So I'm going to play a Caracas, and then I'm going to exile another non-token. Yeah, so I'm going to exile. I'm going to play a Dreadnought. I'm going to exile the Dreadnought, and I'm going to attack. Well, I guess the Caracas doesn't actually help me because that's kind of funny. I guess the Dreadnought, the Caracas doesn't actually help me because they would just play the Hull Breacher when the trigger's on the stack. I also, maybe I don't even like this play then. Oh, they have a Pyroblast. I see. All right. I mean, bouncing this back to my hand does give me force, which is kind of nice. So we do miss out on a lot here. I think this plan was probably bad for me, if I had to guess. I could have just like built up constructs and worked on my Lurrus life. I gotta be careful of like breach kills and things, tinkers. Probably want to just get a Lotus and go Lurrus, Lavinia. Yeah, I played this probably too aggressive, but I really wanted to do the thing. I was enticed by the Curie Dreadnought. All right, still not hitting land drops. 5 cards in hand for the opponent. I am going to... I still don't feel like I need a construct. Maybe I should make a construct. I can make a construct. Maybe I can't make a construct. I tap it for... Oh, there we go. I make a construct. And then I'm going to get a Lotus. I'm going to play a land. And I'm going to probe. No, I'm not going to probe. I'm going to play a Lurrus. I'm going to play a Lavinia. Oh, they have force backup for Lurrus. Yeah, I'll fight over a Lurrus. Because I'm getting a Lavinia out of it, which is going to be good against my opponent's combos anyways. Oh, okay. I guess if they do this... It's pretty bad for me if my opponent goes... I mean, it was probably bad for me anyways if they had Force Flusterstorm, if they have like a Breach combo or something. All right, well, in that case, I will simply play a Curie, and maybe I'm threatening lethal next turn, right? Because this will be an artifact, 3, so it'll be 12, 15. You might be threatening lethal next turn. Yeah, I can definitely see myself losing this game and it being my fault, if that makes sense. Because I tried to put some pressure on my opponent, who was missing land drops and spinning tops and cracking fetch lands, but wasn't really able to do it. And they can just like untap here, spinning into like Tinker, Breach, anything. Yeah, Breach. I mean, they don't have anything to do with this Breach right now. They have like Black Lotus, and then they have Tutor, maybe? I mean, if they have Tutor, we die. Red. Wheel? Wheel and deal? Or just bolts? Red. Bolt is still pretty good here. No, they have the brain freeze, so they just had the full combo. Yeah, I mean, like, this is what but like, am I really beating this on like, if they have Force Pyroblast? So I don't know. Threatening seemed okay there. Kind of brutal. I'm gonna get a Seal of Cleansing in this deck, and then kind of like the idea of having Null Rods and Soul Guide Lantern combination gaming. Also like Negation. Planes is not necessary. I think some number of swords is not necessary. I've never been a super big fan of Spell Pierce versus them. What's Consign actually hit? I feel like Consign doesn't actually hit that much. Oh my god, I had Steel Sabotage in my sideboard? Did I even bring that in against... there's a Steel Sabotage. Well, I can't imagine that that's necessary. Okay, I brought it in. I didn't even realize we had that. Wow. That's so crazy. Yeah, I mean, definitely didn't need to put null rods in this sideboard, huh? Okay, all right. At least I brought it in. I almost didn't realize we had it, so I thought it's possible I didn't even bring it in. That's too funny. Hmm. I don't know. I would like to go back and see that game if I could have played it somehow differently. Maybe I was just supposed to go all in on that first Curie, but it seemed really greedy. My opponent just got to really sit back on a top with like what, triple fetch land and really spin, find every like you don't actually have to, tutor and ponder if you have a Sensei's top, a Mox, and 3 fetch lands. So pretty interesting game. Classic Luca here making us wait in sideboarding, but also we are playing a weird deck, so probably has to figure out some kind of sideboard plan for it. All right, try this again. The Pyroblast was quite good against us. I'm gonna keep this hand and jam on the Merchant Ancestral. Obviously plays into negations and forces and stuff, but that's acceptable. This is definitely a moment where you're looking at the Martikios Archive and being like, I could go turn 1 Lavinia Merchant Scroll here instead, and maybe it's better. That is definitely the downside of the Surveil lands. But the upside is quite high, so hard to balance. Hard to figure out if it's worth it or not. How does Ancestral Recall sound? Got her Ancestral Recall. So now I also have a turn 1 Lavinia anyways. I imagine is quite good with a Mental Misstep in hand. I did board out a bunch of Consigns, which are Dreadnought pieces, so may end up with less Dreadnoughts. Yeah, I'm going to Mental Misstep that so I don't have to deal with Constructs. I do have a very nice Treasure Cruise coming up here. I think we're just doing that. Don't feel like saving a Lotus for my Lurrus is worth the time investment of simply just getting the draw in. Force. Well, I have a multiple Dreadnoughts here and no current way to utilize them. Going to definitely Wasteland the Saga so it doesn't tutor a Lotus. And then I'm going to buy a Lurrus. What are we doing? All right, they're dead. That's funny. Yeah, that's the power of Wasteland and the power of Lavinia. Lavinia, a very, very surprising card that still exists in the Vintage format as a 4F, you know? This goes against the spirit of the format in a very vexing bobble fashion. Boomers did want this card banned, restricted initially as well, for what it's worth. That's why I really like the slow restriction meta game of Vintage where things get time. You know, I think in if Vintage was Legacy, when the initiative was initially rampaging over the format, it might have just gotten restricted from Vintage immediately. But you know, you gave people time to adapt, months to adapt, start playing more removal, and all of a sudden, mono white initiative, fair and balanced part of the Vintage metagame. Now, right now, a very heavily played part of the Vintage metagame for whatever reason. This hand scares me. This hand scares me. Maybe Consign to Memory was better than Doorkeeper Thrall in this matchup. I'm gonna mulligan this hand. Too greedy. Keep this hand. Bottom this Surveil land. These hands do worry me a lot against the deck as powerful as Tinker Breach, but that is... Alright, we'll do it again. I'd like to be saving these mental missteps for Pyroblasts, but this makes them really all in on Saga Gaming. Is this worth, like, fighting a force over? Kind of want to. They used 2 cards to protect it. It's pretty all in. Soul Guide Lantern is a sick draw, though, for my Lurrus. Just looping Lurrus. Definitely start by buying this Lurrus. Three cards in my opponent's hand. Time Walk. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do Time Walk. Lantern. Eat the Petal. So they can't combo with it. Go to my next turn. The land would be cool, because that way I can... Oh, sure. Sure. Does it matter? And they know my cards, so... I guess I can, yeah, let's just do this. Ah, force blue card. All right, they have 1 card left. I'm just going to leave this Lantern and play for the rest of the game then. So I can't get combo killed. Or at least I can't get Breach combo killed. I can still get Tinker combo killed. All right, I got not much left here, though. They have a top now. Spinning top, Tarn. That's how they won game one, but I have a lot of mana. I did get to eat the pedal, so that makes Breach a little less scary. Caracas. I don't think that helps me against anything, but am I allowed to like crack this lantern and try to draw a card? Curie. Curie's sweet. Oh, Caracas Curie's pretty nice here. I don't mind that. Though I guess if they have a Pyroblast, they can just hit it on the stack. Are we fetch spinning here, or are we still like our last card that we know about? All right, still drawing. Another land. I mean, if my opponent just slams a Hull Breacher here, it's quite annoying for me. Pyro, lightning bolts. All right, well, I will bounce my Curie back to my hand. Go to my next turn here. God, Caracas, that's a hell of a card. Yeah, Spell Pierce is a little interesting here. It's good against Pyroblast if it's the last card Pyroblast, though. Probably win the game at that point. Spin? Oh, they have the Pyroblast. Jeez. All right, got him. Sorry, friendo. This looks quite winning now. I mean, they could still spin and find a Tinker and Tinker. Oh, they're a little tight on mana, though. Okay. I mean, a Dreadnought here is quite a good draw now, because I'm definitely going to hit Lavinia. Let's start by attacking with our machine. Draw a card. Strip mine. If I strip first, it doesn't really matter. They still spin. I don't think I have any need to crack this lantern at this point, so I might as well leave it in play so I prevent bad things from happening to me. And simply casting Bolt a few times could be pretty annoying. I'm gonna hit this black source, though. I can always find another black source, but... Alright. The pressure is now on. 5-turn clock. Drawing cards along the way. Currently not susceptible to graveyard combos. Currently not susceptible to Tinker anymore. I will save my Lavinia. Braid pretty decent against our deck, though. This Caracas is, I didn't, when I drew the Caracas, I did not think it was going to be this good, but oh boy, was it good. All right, really solid league so far. 5th and final round. We're 3-1. Just suffering that loss to Oops All Spells at the beginning. But looks like we're going to have a Lurrus Mirror here, so this will be pretty skill testing. See if we can't pull ahead. Basic planes, not bad. Dreadnought, Force, Double Throw. I kind of like this against Lurrus. I don't love it against Lurrus, because there are some problems with this hand, but it's hard to put back hands at all if we're going to play a longer, drawn-out match here. Yeah, so they have Daze, Sapphire, turn 1 Frog. That's not great for me. What I do have, though, is 2 basics. I can play around this Daze at least. Turn 1 frog, huh? Really don't want to get my Doorkeeper Thrall. I mean, we're not in the worst spot, honestly. If we can, like, get them to pitch this Daze to the Force, and then we just slam Doorkeeper Thrall, double Dreadnought. Guess I could technically have consigned a Sapphire. Doesn't seem like something I'm interested in doing. Oh, we're just going time walking. Yep, okay. So the hand is unknown. Daze, Force, Frog, unknown. Yeah, I'm not thrilled with the place we're at in life. I really hope they like go Frog, I go Force, and they force back pitching Daze, and then I can go Doorkeeper Throw, double Dreadnought, and hope it's good enough. Frog. Force. Are you forcing back? I know about the Daze, so it's highly likely they pitch the Daze to a Force. Force, pitching, Daze. Okay, sweet. So the Daze is gone. They've got a Frog. They might still have another Force. I guess I can go Meticulous Archive, but I kind of want to just go to basic, honestly. Getting Wastelanded here would be a nightmare, so... Second Doorkeeper Thrall. Certainly helps a little bit. Just kind of hope they don't draw like a Fatal Push. All right, 5 cards in my opponent's hand, including a single Force. So they have swords in their deck? Okay. Lavinia, not a problem. So I'm going to get that basic island, and then I'm going to go Doorkeeper Thrall. Now, if this gets forced, then we just... Or we'll have to wait one more turn. If it doesn't get forced, then we just go jamming. All right. Swords. Okay, so we can start with a Phyrexian Dreadnought. Got forced. So do I want to try resolving a swords right now? They have no spell pierce. It's quite good. Need to pitch a frog for that. Or do I just want to get a dreadnought in? Let's just get a dreadnought in. I'll have to jump this frog. And I should be winning this race. Maybe not. Maybe I just want to get the swords on that. I'm like really worried about getting spell pierce though. Maybe I shouldn't be. Swords on my dreadnought would also be bad. Lantern. No trigger from the lantern though, because I have a Doorkeeper Thrall. That's a wasteland, so my lands are safe. You can attack, you just need to throw that guy in the air first. Yeah. So I'd love to see this frog go away, if possible here. Land would help me play around... I was gonna say, land would help me play around Spell Pierce. They're gonna go to 1. I guess they're gonna lose the Lavinia. Oh, that lets me play around Spell Pierce, actually, so don't hate that. All right, so definitely just going to cash that in. They have like negation blue card. I think that's fine. Looks good. They have to find a swords for this, basically. Didn't get there. Nice. That seems a little lucky, though. Not ideal. I'd like to get another removal spell in the deck. I do like the idea of just having a Seal of Cleansing. It's not always great against them, but it loops and kills artifacts. Maybe that's not good enough. But, like, I guess I could bring in Soul Guide Lantern. Because I really want to get rid of these negations no matter what, so... But I guess maybe this seal is worse then, because it's not like we care about Null Rod or anything like that. So maybe just negations for Path and Soul Guide Lantern is enough. I could see it. All right, game 2. It's been quite the league. I definitely look back at round one and wish I had done better, but I'm not sure exactly how I could have done better in round one. Maybe if I had not countered the first Undercity Informer with my Force of Will, and then just played, but it's like a little tough to do that. But maybe that would have been the better way to go about it. Because I did have like multiple pieces of counter magic on the way back, so again, I feel like I don't like mulliganing very much against Lurrus, but I'm sure there are some hands you have to. The last hand we took was pretty risky. Looks like they want to keep their bobble card. And then I am interested in getting basic planes and playing the Soul Guide Lantern, because I can get the basic island with the Lorien revealed. And I just want to use my mana. If they want to like Daze or Spell Pierce or Soul Guide Lantern, seems like a win. And if not, I get to get a free trigger, get rid of the bobble for future loops. So I kind of like it. They kind of want to maybe go for like a Surveil land here. So we are both playing Wasteland decks. They're on 3 colors though. Wait, they just kept a card on top and now they're passing? So it must mean they kept an Ancestral and they're going to cast Ancestral in my upkeep. That's super greedy. Oh, no. Well, in that case, I will Wasteland you and we'll see what happens here. Wait, what? Okay, I'm very confused. So if my opponent kept a card on top and it wasn't a land and then they just got Wastelanded? Maybe they just misplayed for the, or misclicked through the turn? No, but they let them pause on the second main. Don't know. Don't know what that means. We'll get the basic island though. And then I'm definitely interested in just not jamming this Lavinia into Daze, which kind of makes sense. They could have strip mine. Why do I bother fetching basics? I think a sword's my doorkeeper throw here. It's fine. What is that? It's a robot. All right. Well, ooh, don't hate that exactly. So now the real question is going to be, good draw card actually. Actually, I'm gonna do that. Because I don't need to hit the graveyard because I have the Lorien reveal or the Lavinia protecting us against Treasure Cruise. All right, let's get this protection for our Lavinia. And then I'm buying a Lurrus. One has 7 cards in hand, but don't exactly know what's going on. Kind of an odd game. All right, hit another land. It's frog time. It's past the turn time. It's Bowmaster time. Meticulous Archive is not my favorite draw here. Definitely not attacking with this Lavinia. Let's go get this Lurrus going. Can't force it. I have a Lavinia. Oh, they have a Fatal Push on the Lavinia. That is fine. And then I'm gonna replay the Lavinia, which might be more greedy than leaving up Caracas for my Lurrus. I could see that. I don't know. Yeah, I could see a world where you're supposed to just bring back the Soul Guide Lantern, but I don't know. Force, yeah. I mean, Lavinia's fine. I have a Caracas, so. All right, let's start with seeing what gets milled over. In case it's like, I'm definitely gonna mill that. It's kind of awkward, actually. I think I'd rather just play this. Launch this and attack. I guess I should draw with this Soul Guide Lantern. Well, I can't get Bowmastered. I don't think I played this game very optimally, thinking about it more. I feel like I took random game actions. They have 7 cards in hand. Time Walk, sure. I feel like this is one of those games where if I like playing against Mogged or someone, I would just get crushed. No, still have Lavinia. Nothing. Like, I don't know how restrictive this Lavinia is being. It must be very restrictive. All right, I'm gonna start by attacking and see what happens. Attacking is fine. I will return a Soul Guide Lantern. Excuse me. Okay. Now what? Bowmaster? Bowmaster's fine. Are they gonna try to like go in on a Twister on me? Should be fine. I have double removal spell force. Yeah, I guess I'll just force this. I don't know. Everything looks pretty good from here. GG's. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this was a pretty crushing league. We had some great matchups, I must say. I don't think the Lurrus matchup is like crazy good, but it's probably close to even. You might have some extra game. Not 100% sure on that one. I'd have to ask someone who's played the matchup a bit more, but like 4-1 here, pretty convincing 4-1. And if we had maybe, I don't know if it was like poor play or just Oops All Spells did the Oops All Spells thing. I could see like maybe some sequences in game 2 of Oops All Spells, or maybe sideboarding patterns against Oops All Spells where they have this like Shieldred. I think they had one Shieldred when we looked at their deck in game 1. Not sure. Like we have the Krakus in our deck. That one could be on me. I could see maybe someone else winning that round 1. We'll have to go back and look at it at some point. But a very convincing 4-1 league here for the Curie. We were unable to draw 12 cards at any point, but we did draw 1 card a couple times, and even 1 card was quite good. It was blue. It got, saved by Caracas, so I was pretty impressed with this overall. I am interested, of course, in the other 2 Moxins, so that we have like more turn 1 Curies. I think that would be something I would be interested in. The Lavinia did actually look really good in this league, but we had some pretty promising Lavinia matchups, so I'm normally not a big Lavinia fan, especially without even playing Lotus Petal in the deck, but it didn't perform poorly here. The 2 null rods have probably got to go. That's a mistake on my part. I just thought you would want null rods, but I would probably go back towards like a second lantern. I cut like Tabernacles. I really don't like Tabernacle because there's no more Countervine, and Tabernacle is okay versus Dredge, but it's not like amazing versus Dredge. So I think this setup versus Dredge looks better, and then maybe you want something like a Hercules Recall in case you find a Shop's opponent. Maybe that's like unlikely to occur. You play a Needle instead of one of these lanterns or something. There's a couple other choices here. Kind of depends on what your bad matchups are. Currently, we did not see bad matchups. I think, the Grixis Breach matchup is probably not amazing, but it's totally fine. And then, like I said, I think the Jewel matchups gotta be our best. Like when our Flash Flying Threat turns off their combo piece and then steals it is quite impressive. So, yeah, nice league. Hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure if this is you're watching this on Friday that you tune in on Saturday for the Vintage Super RCQ. Let me just check the time real quick. Vintage Super RCQ starting at 10 a.m. So 3 hours earlier than my normal Saturday challenge. 10 a.m. Eastern time instead of 1 p.m. Eastern time. So 3 hours earlier, we'll be playing a Vintage Super Qualifier tomorrow, December 28th. More Magic content on this YouTube channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'll see you then.